Hi, welcome back to Graphically Hip. I'm going to show you some fun stuff today because um, typically my channel is more for like a beginner BN20 user or a beginner t-shirt maker slash sticker maker and that sort of thing. But what I often don't think to share with people is some of the more fun tools in Illustrator. And I think some of them could be actually considered maybe more advanced as well as being fun, but I'm going to take you through them step by step so that even you can do it. Illustrator has quite a few tools available, and even I, as someone who's been doing this for, oh gosh, I think 12 years now, I learn new things every day. So don't feel like if you're getting into Illustrator as a beginner, it's hard to not feel overwhelmed, but just know that even the pros are still learning, and of course technology changes so fast and they're always adding new features. So there's lots to learn and lots of fun things. Today I'm going to show you how to do 3 fun things. So the first one is how to use the warp tool. So as t-shirt and sticker makers, it's easy to get into the habit of just doing like 1 or 2 colors or just straight text across the front of a shirt and that kind of thing because it's easy, it's quick, and it's what we know. But if you want to have a bit of an edge up on your competition and you want to start having a little more creativity to your designs, these 3 tools will help with that. So, as I said, the first tool that I'm going to show you how to use is the warp, the kind of the envelope distort tool. So I'm just going to write some text, which is going to say, I'm just doing this off the top of my head. I'm just going to write my business name. Oh, if I could spell today, that'd be cool. Okay, so we have Graphically Hip, but remember, this is just what I'm doing. You could use whatever text you want. When I'm designing shirts or anything that's going to be cut, especially letters, I try to stick with a thicker font because the printer has an easier time cutting a thicker font rather than something that's super thin like this. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick a random font. And then I'm going to show you how to use the envelope tool. So it's under the object menu. And then we're going to go envelope distort. And I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do this today. So there's make with warp and make with mesh. If we make with warp, we are then given a menu of presets that we can choose from. So this is a really good way to have your type curved like this, or there's a flag one that's kind of cool, and you can play with the settings and make it, wild. You just play around with these. They're a lot of fun to play around with. So I'm just going to leave that one right there. And you can change the vertical or horizontal, which in this case is not a good idea. And then there's some other options, like you just play around in this menu. There's lots of cool things that we can do with it. The fisheye one. I think I like the flag one. Let's go with the flag one for now. So there's kind of how you use it in that way. And then the same thing, but we're going to now use it with the mesh tool. So the envelope mesh will bring up a menu that's asking you to input grids or a mesh. So if you look right now, this is set at 4x4. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. And then columns, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 columns, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. I think, well, it depends what you're working on, but I think that's way too much. If you were doing something like working on a gradient mesh, I could see having this many columns and rows, but like honestly, for me, I'm going either one by one, which I'll show you what that does. That just makes it so that you can grab each corner and stretch it out and do with it what you will. And then each node can also be adjusted that way by using the anchor point pulls. But also, so I'm just going to back out of that by using Control Z. Let's just say we want to go back, and I say 2. So 2 by 2. So now I have 2 columns, 2 rows, and then I'm just using the direct selection tool, which is also the letter A on your keyboard. So now I can have a little bit more control over which part of the text that I'm moving around. And you can just really play with it and have fun. Something that I did with this a while ago was I took kind of the silhouette of one of my favorite musicians, and then I wrote a whole bunch of different words that had to do with him. Some were lyrics, some were just about who he is as a person. And then I made them fit inside that silhouette using this tool. So I just, like say this was his arm. So I would just like kind of shape this until it looked like an arm or until it matched the silhouette behind it. And you just kind of have fun with it. There's so many different things you can do with this tool. So just play with it. Now, something that a lot of people struggle with here is, okay, now I have it how I want it, but I can't change the color by just going to color and changing the color because we're still inside of that warp tool. So what we have to do here is go back to object, back to where we were, and then say expand. It's kind of a crappy way of doing things. I wish they had just a button up here that said expand, but whatever, it's not the end of the world. And whoever designed this font did so sort of poorly because you can see that the letters are not fully attached, which in my opinion is not cool. That's not typical of a font. So just because I'm a little bit anal, I'm just going to go in and unite/weld them together. Now that I've expanded it, now I can change the color. Oh, that's so off-brand. I can't even leave it like that for fun. Okay. So now you know how to use the warp tool in a couple different ways. Now we're going to do the transform tool. And I admittedly have not played with this tool a whole lot because I don't have a use for it in what I do daily. But I've been seeing a lot of other people use it in some of the logos and stuff that they've been doing. So I'm going to show you how to make. Where's my star tool? In here. So I'm just clicking on my square tool and I'm going to head down to star. And when I draw a star, I don't really like the way that it looks kind of bloated. You know what I mean? Like it kind of puckers. So I hold down the Alt key, or on a Mac, you're holding down Option, and that makes it a nice uniform star. You see the difference when I let go? I just don't like this looks childish to me. So, and then I'm also holding down Shift, which will make it a perfectly straight as opposed to moving it around. It's just making it a perfectly straight star. All right, now I'm going to change the outline of this, or change the color of this to having an outline only. And I'm changing that to 8 points just because then I can actually see what I'm working with. And then I'm going to give it a gradient fill. I could use the gradient tool, but I'm actually going to head into my swatches. And then I'm going to click on Swatch Libraries menu right here in the corner. And I'm going to go down to gradients. And then I think I'm going to pick, let's go fruits and vegetables and see what comes up. Perfect. So these are some nice colorful gradients. Actually, I think I'm going to choose a different one. Gradients. I'm going to go with spectrums. There we go. So then we have some rainbow type stuff going on. There we go. Okay, so now I have my colorful outline of a star, and I'm going to go to Effect, and then Distort and Transform. And I think it's free Distort. No, it's not. My bad. Effect, Distort and Transform, and let's try Twist. Let's see what happens. Nope. My bad. Sorry, guys. Transform? That's the one. Transform Effect. The easiest one. I should have just known. So in here, you get to just play. And where it becomes really fun is when you start editing this. So just play around with the sliders and see what happens, right? It's kind of neat. It just distorts it. And you can see in here, it's giving you the original shape that you had, but then it's showing you how you're distorting it. So then we can move it around and play with where it is in position. We can change the angle, let's say 65. I don't know why. There it kind of looks 3D. And then let's go with 25 copies and watch what happens. What? So wild. You can just do so many cool things with this. Actually, I think I want to leave these at 0 and 0. And you see how it moves each one by the same amount? I can't get over how cool this tool is. We could play with some reflect tools, some random tools. I don't think I like either of those. Let's see what this does. Anyway, you see how, oh, that's kind of neat. It looks like a shooting star. So you can get real creative with this stuff. And where this would apply to like a shirt, I'll show you in just a minute. I'm going to do another one of these, but I'm going to get rid of all that stuff. See if I can. Oh, maybe I can't. I'm just going to draw a new star, and I'm going to try a different option rather than just transform. So Effect, Distort and Transform. Let's try the Pucker and Bloat. Let's see what that does. Oh, that's weird. So you can see how you can just get creative and make different things and have fun with it until you find something that suits you, I guess. See what the other ones do. Roughen. Oh yeah, this one adds like a texture almost to the lines in your drawing. You can add more detail or less. Smooth. So neat. Does the tweak one have a menu? Oh yeah. Yeah, you can get real creative with this stuff, and if you actually search for like go onto YouTube and do a search for people who make really cool things with the distort and transform logo or option, like they do some really beautiful shapes and things with their stuff. So I just like to play with it. I could just play here all day. Let's go with 120 and see what happens. Holy moly. Look at the repeating pattern it's making. That is so cool. a lot of copies. It's like massive. It goes outside of the area of drawing capabilities in Illustrator, and I can't even make it small enough to all fit in there. That's wild. This is like that what do you call that? NFTs. You can just keep scrolling in and in and in and in. So I'm going to delete that because it's taking up way too much space. But you can see how you could start to have a lot of fun with this stuff. And I think because this is still an outline, so um, you couldn't bring that into Roland and cut out the round shapes. It would just cut a straight line because it's still an outline. And I think there's a way to expand on that. And there it is, expand appearance. So it's under the object menu, expand appearance. So that then turns it into make the outline follow the shape of what you're doing. And then if you go to object, path, outline, stroke, then it will turn it into what you could then use as a cut line. So that's a pretty cool little tool. Now, I'm going to release that compound path so I'm stuck with just one shape. And whatever that is, I'll get rid of. And just because I can't stand 90-degree gradients, I'm going to change it to 45. So I'm doing that right in my gradient tool. Now I'm going to show you how to distress something. And this is a really cool trick to have in your belt. So I'm going to pull up my vector set. This is the vector website that I subscribe to, vecteasy.com. And I'm just going to type in grunge texture. So I can pick any one of these textures because they are all in the vector category. So I'm going to choose this one, gritty. And I'm going to download it. And I'm going to open it up. I'm going to grab it. Make sure that's all I'm grabbing because sometimes the artist of these things group it together with this like circle and text type stuff. So I'm just going to grab it. I just hit Command C to copy it. I'm going to go back here, Command V to paste it. And then I'm just going to grab a node and hold Shift and Alt or Shift and Option on a Mac and drag it over my star. Now you can already see how that star is starting to become distressed. And I'm just going to drag that off to the side so I can use it again for some text. Now this shape, you're going to want to hit Command or Control and then plus the letter 8. Sorry about that. And it does take away the color just briefly, but you can go and add it in. But what I just did there was the same thing as going object, compound path, make. So essentially it's just turning all of those little shapes into one path so that when I go to my next step, it doesn't mess anything up. So now I'm just going to select my star and my texture. And you could actually send this to print as is because it looks pretty cool when it's black. Of course, you would add your cut line and some bleed, but you can also just make the texture part of the star. So you just have to select both objects, head over to your Pathfinder, which is also under your window menu. And we're going to pick this one here, which is the minus front. If you use Corel Draw, this is called back minus front, so same idea. And there we go. Now we have a distressed looking star. Now I said I wanted to use that for some text, so I'm going to do that here. And I'm going to add texture to this yellow shape. So I always hold shift down whenever I change the size of something. And when you do that, you change the height at the same time as the width. Whereas if you don't hold shift, you're distorting the graphic. Actually, this might be easier to show you with the actual letters. So if I just grab a side and drag it, see how I'm stretching? And in any type of graphic design, that's very frowned upon. Same with if you were to do it that way or that way. So if you hold shift, you see how it moves the height at the same time as the width, and that's what we want. So that's exactly what I was just doing with this shape to get it to fit, just to kind of stretch to the outside edges of my text. Now I want to make sure that my text is also a compound shape, so I'm Command 8 again, and I'm using my back minus front tool, and there, now I have some distressed text. So those were just a few fun little Friday afternoon tricks. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe button. I'm trying to grow this channel so that I can have a second means of income. So if you found anything cool about it, please like and share it. And thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.